What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Tuesday, December 12th. We're 4 weeks away from the conclusion of the Ron Rivera era in Washington, an era of participation awards, an era of over-promising and under-delivering, and fallacy of culture shifting. Because if there's one thing we learned about this Ron Rivera regime, is that nothing really changed here for the most part. He came here to coach a 3-win team, and on his way out, we're probably going to win only 4 games this year. An era that consisted of one fugazi playoff trip off of 7 wins and a fluke Mickey Mouse division title, a couple Mickey winning streaks, empty calorie winning streaks, a whole bunch of in the hunt, and a whole lot of not good enough. A defensive coach with a defensive head coach coaching his defense. With 5 first-round picks in one unit of the defensive side of the ball that has regressed over these last 4 years. That's what Ron Rivera's era in Washington has been. And save me and miss me with all the culture changing things. The culture isn't any different. I don't know if y'all heard Montez Sweat down in Chicago, who's flourishing in Chicago, by the way. Montez Sweat said, I appreciate Matt Eberflus. He gets the guys together. He keeps the guys engaged and into it, unlike the last place I was at. Because in Washington, they were just abiding time to get to the end of the season. If that ain't the most accurate depiction of what Ron Rivera has been, I don't know what to tell you. But we're now on the week 15 of the NFL season. Washington had a bye week last week, and we managed to win the bye week and fly in colors. We came into the bye week, week 14, as the 4th pick in the NFL draft. And after week 14, we stayed at the 4th pick of the NFL draft. And the fact that we stayed there means multiple upsets took place, because Washington was expected to fall to 7 or 8 in draft order. To stay at 4, Washington needed the Bears to beat the Lions, the Jets to beat the Texans, the Titans to beat the Dolphins, and the Giants to beat the Packers. We needed all of those upsets to happen, and we went 4 for 4. Bears got the Lions up out of here. The Jets stymied C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. Will Levis pulled a rabbit out of his hat, came down from 14 in the final 3 minutes of the game versus the Miami Dolphins, who looked like a Super Bowl contender. And Tommy Cutlets DeVito, Sopranos cast member Jackie Aprile Jr., pulled off another upset on his Linsanity run, his Jeremy Lin run for the Giants over the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football last night, versus a Packers team that had previously been 16-0 in December since Matt Fleur took over 4 years ago. Craziness, but it all happened, and we're sitting at that 4 spot. I'm telling you, the top 4 is where you want to be in this draft. There are 4 can't-miss prospects in this draft. There's obviously probably a couple more, but you want to be in the range to have flexibility to do a multitude of things. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Maserati Marv, and Olu Fashanu, however the hell you pronounce that last name. Those are the 4 guys. An elite receiver, an elite tackle, 2 elite blue chip prospects at the quarterback position. You want to be in range to be able to do whatever you'd like in that top 4, whether that's move up, move down, or stick and pick a blue chip generational prospect. That's where you want to be. And the bright news is we could actually move up from here, as our strength of schedule will shift over these last few weeks. We have a Jets team who's still fighting to stay alive, and we'll be probably returning Rodgers on Christmas Eve. Zach Wilson coming off a career day. We got the Rams, who just went mano-a-mano with Super Bowl contender Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore at home next week. We got the 49ers playing for the 1 seed and the Cowboys playing for the 1 seed. It's not looking good for the boys, but it's looking lovely when it comes to this draft pick conversation. And Washington has a chance to move up to 3, shit, maybe even 2. Grant Paulson laid out the path and the scenarios in which Washington can move up in the draft. The path is Washington loses out, finishes 4-13. The Cardinals beat the Bears week 16, and the Patriots beat the Jets in week 18. We would likely get the second pick based on strength of schedule if those things happen. So another Patriots win, another Cardinals win, and we all finished 4-13. Washington is looking the second overall pick in the draft right in the face, and that opens up so many doors. I know we like Sam. I know we love the story. I know we like some of the things he did this year, and I think he has shown that he can be a franchise quarterback in this league. The thing is, we're going to have a new staff in here, a new coach, a new GM, a new football operations in the building. And they don't care what Mario in DC cares about Sam Howell. They don't care what Chad in Olney or Robert in Bethesda care about what's on the current roster. They're not going to be roster building and putting together a team in their vision based on what fans think. They have to come in and objectively critique and lay out what they want to keep and what they want to move on from here in Washington. And fact is, Sam Howell's going to be here regardless of what we do in the draft in 2024, 2025. He's under contract for 2 more years, making pennies on a 5th-round rookie contract. And I'm trying to preach open-mindedness to the rest of Washington fan nation. This is the first time Washington is going to roster build correctly. We're going to build a front office who then hires a coaching staff and collaboratively put together an outfit here that can competitively compete for the years going forward. With an owner that's not going to meddle, that's going to pay top dollar for top-notch football people to make the decisions here. And when they hire these football people, you cannot get your panties in a bunch because players that you love or players whose jersey you bought get moved on from. What we have in this building is not good enough. Coaching played a big factor. Hashtag coaching matters. 100% I believe in it. But I also believe we don't have any blue chip guys on this team. There's not a Pro Bowler on this roster. Not one. I don't even think Chess Way is having a Pro Bowl year. Does some of that point to Cheeseman being asset long snapper? Probably so. Not even our punter is a Pro Bowler this year. Terrell Burgess may make the Pro Bowl team. 9.7 out of 10 Washington fans would walk past Terrell Burgess if they saw him at Wegmans. You don't know who Terrell Burgess is. The only reason we know punters make the Pro Bowl team is because Jeremy Reeves did it. Jeremy Reeves is punt gunner Hall of Fame. He's our Matthew Slater. I want blue chip guys that can play on downs 1 through 3 in a football game. We don't have any of those right now. So anybody this new regime decides to move on from, whoop-de-fucking-do. Let's ride. And that goes for guys like John Allen, who spoke on the Junkies last week. Very candid, very honest, who said, obviously, he thinks about a future in other places. He thinks about leaving here because winning comes more than everything. And I feel him for saying that. But I will also say, John Allen, there's a lot of weeks that go by. Your name don't get called on that broadcast, my boy. Yes, he does. He's up to 5.5 sacks on the year. He produces here and there. He ain't Aaron Donald. What we think Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne are is what Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins are for the Miami Dolphins. That's an elite defensive tackle duo. We drafted these guys to be an elite defensive tackle duo, and they've come maybe 70% towards being that, but they've never hit elite status. Look at Kayvon Thibodeau in New York. They took him in the top 5. Boy got 12.5 sacks this year. Now, one of our edge rushers hit 10 sacks one time in Washington. Kayvon can do it. It feels like everybody that drafts an edge guy can do it. But us and Trayvon Walker down in Jacksonville, our guys do not do it. But open-mindedness as a fan. Whatever these guys want to do with the roster, however they want to form it, let them build the clay up and do it in whatever desire they'd like to. I'm not here pigeonholing Washington because we're in the top 4. We have to take a tackle. We have to take a quarterback. No, we don't have to do anything. The only thing we have to do is get a blue chip prospect. We need to add some real superstar potential talent to this roster. And however they feel like they need to do so, do it. Stop strapping yourself to one position. Washington better draft a tackle in the top 4. No, it doesn't need to be like that. That's not how good teams do business. This ain't Madden, nigga. That's not how it's done. That's not how it's done. And in the process of building said roster and said open-mindedness for fans, players we love, players we cherish may be moved on from. They may decide to move on from John Allen. Shit, they may decide to move on from Deron Payne. They may decide to move Terry McLaurin. If any of these things happen, you got to get over it because we didn't do anything with these guys. I'm tired of Hallmark stories, y'all. I'm tired of Hallmark movies. You know how Hallmark, they changed the plot, but they used the same people for everything? We're the antithesis of that. We change the people and we get the same plot all the time. I want the plot to thicken here in DC. And if that means moving on from everybody, do what you got to do. I just want to win. And I want superstars. I'm tired of overvaluing guys who we think are great. They're not great. Nobody in the league's thinking about our guys. There's not a player on the roster currently that would fetch a first-round pick via trade. Not one. Not one single guy. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. Ron Rivera had 4 cracks at a first-round pick in his tenure here in D.C. 4 of them. Not one for sure starter. Not one superstar. Not one blue-chip prospect. Chase Young, already moved on from, lacks work ethic, not a star. He's on the track of being Jadeveon Clowney, if that. He's a backup in San Francisco. Crack number 2, Jamin Davis, who we just shut down for the season in the penultimate year where we have to decide whether we want to keep him on a 5th-year option or not. Less than 300 tackles in 3 years. First-round pick linebacker. We still have to applaud every time he has a half-ass decent game. Shot number 3, Jahan Dotson. Promising rookie year, extreme sophomore slump, inconsistent hands where hands were supposed to be his best attribute, lacks separation, undersized, looks like a slot receiver. And it looks like my draft day reaction from my draft stream when we drafted him may be correct. Not a superstar. Year 4, Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback. Every other cornerback, it feels like they got drafted this year, was better than Emmanuel Forbes. Joey Porter Jr., lights out. Deonte Banks, he's went through his ups and downs, but he's flashed so much. Emmanuel Forbes doesn't flash. He's either out there getting beat, getting penalized, or getting hurt. There's very, very, very minimal positive to take away from Emmanuel Forbes' rookie season. It's been a complete wash thus far. So 4 cracks at the apple for Ron Rivera. Not one star, not one for sure going to get a second contract guy out of those 4 picks. Obviously, things can change, but this is the evidence in the data that you set forth on the table for those delusional company man D-eating fans who still support Ron and company. How could you guys want the team to lose? I still want to win these meaningless games. For those fans, you're not getting brownie points. You're not getting fan experience points or kudos for wanting to win pointless games for a lame duck coaching operation. You get nothing out of it. I'm at the games. I'm a paying customer. I don't want to see us win these pointless games. For what? How could you guys want to tank? Another thing, we're not tanking. We're just bad. We're just bad. We're poorly coached. The roster was poorly constructed. And we've completely checked out on this sad-ass coaching staff. All of them. Not just Ron. EB2. All the assistants. They're all cooked. They're all going to be on the chopping block and the unemployment line in 27 days on Black Monday, January 8th, 2024. They're all gone. Miss me with it. You get to survey the lay of the land when your team's on a bye week, and you get to watch league-wide. And you get to watch all the games on Red Zone, and you get to sit there and just be perplexed. Like, damn, teams really can force turnovers. Everybody falls into turnovers, backflips into turnovers, cartwheels into fumbles, lucks up into interceptions. Not my team. Everybody can get their number one weapon, the ball. Everyone can scheme open receivers. Everyone can run a successful sweep play. Everyone can run a successful screen play. Everyone but my team. I want my joy back as a fan. And it won't start coming back until everybody in this building is purged when the cleansing of Ashburn hits town on January 8th. I can't wait for it. I didn't post any content last week because I wanted to take a bye week like the team. I wanted to sit back, reflect, and survey the NFL and watch. I'm not going to sit here and force out content when there's nothing to talk about, because then we just end up regurgitating the same things just for content, and that's not how your boy rocks, you know? Just like a successful relationship. People got to miss you sometime. They don't need to see you all the time. They need to feel the need to miss you and want to come back to your channel sometime. I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate bullshit when there's nothing to talk about, but we're on the week 15 of the season. Last 4 weeks, it's the same thing as usual. We're watching Sam Howell. We're watching how Sam Howell develops under a coaching staff who's not going to be here next year. If you're still on the EB for head coaching train, rehabilitation, I suggest it. Rehab. Stay off the weed, as Stephen A. Smith would say. Watch how plays are called league-wide. I know what an NFL play caller looks like. It's not anything we have on this current roster. Oh, another thing. I seen people worried that Marty Herney may be retained because he's been like an advisor for Josh Harris since they've gotten here. He's just the oldest guy in the room. He's the old wise man who's seen more than everyone else in the room. That's it. He leaving with the rest of the guys. Everybody's going to be on a Beacon truck, Allied truck, 2 Marines in a truck, moving operation on January 8th. Everybody's gone. Stop finding reasons to try to keep guys who don't need to be here. We're starting over, y'all. We're doing it the right way. Just get through these last 4 weeks, man. Just peacefully get through these last 4 weeks. I expect us to lose out. I don't feel the need to unnecessarily win any of these games. The season is over. We might as well bottom out and finish 4-13. You're not getting anything out of wanting pointless ass wins. So everybody trying to fan police and who wants fan XP, experience points for those who don't know, for saying, I just want to win games. I think we're no. Y'all sound stupid as shit. For what? For what? It looks so fun what the Giants are doing. No, the fuck it don't. For what? And also, the Giants went to the playoffs last year with an underachieving roster. They're in a different situation. The Titans have Mike Vrabel as coach. The Giants have Brian Daboll. We have a coaching staff that's going to get fired in 3 weeks. It's not the same. Fans, get your situational awareness up. I'm just saying. But that's all I got for right now. We're going to preview the game in the coming days, and we got more content about these last 4 weeks, specifically Week 15 matchup against Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and the Los Angeles Rams. That's all I got for right now. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Bleed, burgundy, and gold to the death of you, even though we trash. Deuces.